Shalom, family. It's your friendly neighborhood teacher, Eliyah. I am a healthy, wise, strong, protected, celestial being that is loved by the Most High Creator. Most High Creator, we come before you at this hour, first off asking you to forgive us for all of our sins, known, unknown, and forgotten, and forgiving our ancestors for all of their sins, known, unknown, and forgotten. Wash us with your grace and mercy at this hour and this moment, Most High, giving us eyes to see and ears to hear your word before our eyes, Most High. Most High, your word says, where two or more come in your name, your spirit will abide. Well, I ask your Holy Spirit to abide with us at this moment, Most High, filling us with wisdom, knowledge, discernment, and understanding, Most High. Guide us through this word at this time, Most High. Use me to plant seeds within your people, Most High. And whoever's watching this recording, Most High, bless them with eyes to see and ears to hear. Give them understanding. And Most High Creator, I ask you to help me with my reading at this moment. Give me the discipline, Most High, that I need to read this word to the people, Most High. Make my words understandable, Most High. Help me explain these things to your people, Most High, as I read. Make my reading clear and concise, Most High. Continue to improve my reading as I continue to go forward with the people, Most High, so that they can hear it, so they don't get annoyed by what I read, Most High. In Yahushua's mighty name, we pray. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. All right, family, you see before me, we're going to read the OAHSPE today. We're not going to start from the beginning on this one. I just wanted to read something out of this that I liked. And then the next time I go to the OAHSPE, we'll start from the beginning. But that's what we're going to read. But like I did the last two videos, we're going to start off by reading, as I told you before, I close my eyes, I pray, and I ask the Most High to guide me to a word to give to the people. And I take a card with my eyes closed, and I push it forward, and I have a Bible in front of me, or I have the Book of Mormon, and wherever that card goes, I take that as something the Most High wants me to read before this lesson. So that's what we will go ahead and read first. Today we read now the Book of Mormon, and then we're going to go ahead and get to the main reading. Oh, give me a second. Let me get my book out, family. Okay. We are reading in the Book of Mormon, the Book of Amma, chapter 19. We're just going to read 2 pages. And there came a multitude, and to their astonishment they beheld the king and the queen and their servants prostrate upon the earth, and they all lay there as though they were dead. And they also saw Ammon, and behold, he was a Nephite. And now the people began to murmur among themselves, some saying that it was a great evil that had come upon them, or upon the king and his house, because he had suffered that the Nephite should remain in the land. But others rebuked them, saying, the king had brought this evil upon his house, because he slew his servants, who had had their flocks scattered at the waters of Sebus. And they were also rebuked by those men who had stood at the waters of Sebus, and scattered the flocks which belonged to the king. For they were angry with Ammon, because of the number which he had slain of their brethren at the waters of Sebus, while defending the flocks of the king. Now one of them whose brother had been slain with the sword of Ammon, being exceedingly angry with Ammon, drew his sword, and went forth that he might let it fall upon Ammon to slay him. And as he lifted the sword to smite him, behold, he fell dead. Now we see that Ammon could not be slain, for the Lord had said unto Mosiah his father, I will spare him, and it shall be unto him according to thy faith. Therefore Mosiah trusted him unto the Lord. And it came to pass that when the multitude beheld that the man had fallen dead, who lifted the sword to slay Ammon, fear came upon them all, and they durst not put forth their hands to touch him, or any of those who had fallen. And they began to marvel again among themselves, what could be the cause of this great power, or what all these things could mean. And it came to pass that there were many among them who said that Ammon was the Great Spirit, and others said he was sent by the Great Spirit. But others rebuked them all, saying that he was a monster, who had been sent from the Nephites to torment them. And there were some who said that Ammon was sent by the Great Spirit to afflict them because of their iniquities, and that it was the Great Spirit that had always attended the Nephites, who had ever delivered them out of their hands. And they said that it was this Great Spirit who had destroyed so many of their brethren, the Lamanites. And thus the contention began to be exceedingly sharp among them. And while they were thus contending, the woman servant who had caused the multitude to be gathered together came, and when she saw the contention which was among the multitude, she was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto tears. And it came to pass that she went and took the queen by the hand, that perhaps she might raise her from the ground. And as soon as she touched her hand, she arose and stood up, and stood upon her feet, and cried with a loud voice, saying, O bless Jesus, who has saved me from the awful hell. O bless God, have mercy on this people. And when she had said this, she clasped her hands, being filled with joy, speaking many words which were not understood. And when she had done this, she took the king, Lamoni, by the hand, and behold, he arose and stood upon his feet. And he immediately seeing the contention among his people, went forth, and began to rebuke them, and to teach them the words which he had heard from the mouth of Ammon. And as many as heard his words believed, and were converted unto the Lord. But there were many among them who would not hear his words. Therefore they went their way. And it came to pass that when Ammon rose, he also administered unto them, and also did all the servants of Lamoni. And they did all declare unto the people the selfsame thing, that their hearts had been changed, that they had no more desire to do evil. And behold, many did declare unto the people that they had seen angels, and had conversed with them. And thus they had told them things of God, and of his righteousness. And it came to pass that there were many that did believe in their words, and as many as did believe were baptized. And they became a righteous people, and they did establish a church among them. And thus the work of the Lord did commence among the Lamanites. Thus the Lord did begin to pour out his Spirit upon them. And we see that his arm is extended to all people who will repent and believe on his name. Chapter 20. My bad, family. I dislike when I do that. But I'm reading from chapter 20 now. Chapter 20. The Lord sends Ammon to Midoni to deliver his imprisoned brethren. Ammon and Lamoni meet Lamoni's father, who is king over all the land. Ammon compels the old king to approve the release of his brethren. About 90 BC. And it came to pass that when they had established a church in that land, that King Lamoni desired that Ammon should go with him to the land of Nephi, that he might show him unto his father. And the voice of the Lord came to Ammon, saying, Thou shalt not go up to the land of Nephi, for behold, the king will seek thy life, but thou shalt go to the land of Midoni. For behold, thy brother Aaron, and also Moloki, and Amma are in prison. Now it came to pass that when Ammon had heard this, he said unto Lamoni, Behold, my brother and brethren are in prison in Midoni, and I go that I may deliver them. Now Lamoni said unto Ammon, I know in the strength of the Lord thou canst do all things. But behold, I will go with thee to the land of Midoni. For the king of the land is Midoni, whose name is Anti-Umno. Anti-Amno is a friend unto me. Therefore I go to the land of Midoni, that I may flatter the king of the land, and he will cast thy brethren out of prison. Now Lamoni said unto him, Who told thee that thy brethren were in prison? And Ammon said unto him, No one hath told me, save it be God. And he said unto me, Go and deliver thy brethren, for they are in prison in the land of Midoni. Now when Lamoni had heard this, he caused that his servants should make ready his horses and his chariots. And he said unto Ammon, Come, I will go with thee down to the land of Midoni, and there I will plead with the king that he will cast thy brethren out of prison. And it came to pass that as Ammon and Lamoni were journeying thither, they met the father of Lamoni, who was king over all the land. Alright, family. Now we're going to go ahead and get to the main meat of this reading. And like I said, maybe this, I don't know who this is for. Maybe this is for someone watching. Uh, maybe it's for me, or maybe it's for this story. Well, maybe it's for what we're about to read in the OSOP as we go forward. But only time will tell. Ooh, okay. Did I tell y'all, family, I broke my hand recently? So I'm kind of it kind of, it's hard for me to pick certain things up, but it's actually getting better. So it's a lot better. Got better pretty quick. All praise to the Most High, regardless of being broken. I didn't even have to get a cast. I just had a stent. So and it's getting there. This is probably about a month ago that I broke it. Maybe a little more. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the main reading of the OAHSPE. And hold it real quick, family. I need some more lights. Jerusalem. Okay. Let's go ahead. All right. Let's get her done, family. Let's get her done. Book of Thor, son of Jehovah. Book of Thor, son of Jehovah. Being the records of Thor, Apollo's successor, on the earth and in her heavens, from the ark of Mos to the ark of Day, in the earthen heavens, and of 3,200 years. Chapter 1. Thor, Orion chief of Danga, and Ethirsa, god of Pala, surveyor of Urets, and Thassa, god of Galeb, receiver of Saphar, and Hosanna, god of Warts, and Lo, and Yesane, counselor in the ethereal worlds, Hituna, Kataran, Sing, Sethan, and Habak, greeting. In the holy council of gods and goddesses in Danga, the voice of Jehovah came to Thor, saying, My son, behold the red star, the earth, she courseth from Mos today, and now draggeth in the swamps of Asoth. Behold, thou shalt deliver her through thy dominions. 3,200 years. Even now approacheth the dawn of Gon. Thor spoke before the holy council on Jehovah, Ethern throne, saying, Behold, the young world, the earth cometh our way. For 3,200 years she will journey in the fields of Danga. Then the holy council deliberated on the matters of the earth and her heavens, and all other corporeal worlds that were to pass through Danga for 3,000 years. And it was found that the dawn of Dan would fall upon the earth first of all. Then called Thor for the swift messengers that coursed the firmament in the regions of Apperwith, the roadway of the earth's past history. And the swift messengers came and laid their report before the throne of Jehovah as to what world the earth was, and the harvest of angels she had yielded up to the emancipated heavens. When their reports were finished and deliberated, hold on real quick, family. We don't have to go back. Just give me a second. Yeah, this is so let me go. When their reports were finished and deliberated on by the holy council, Thor, son of Jehovah, said, For further knowledge as to the present condition of this world, the earth, it is my command that Yathai, god of Gamato, choose 1,000,000 volunteers, and in an Ariata proceed to the earth and her heavens to visit her God and lords, and ascertain the condition of their angels and mortals, and report back to Danga. So Yathai, god of Gamato in Etheria, was appointed for this purpose, and he provided an Ariata and took with him 1,000,000 Etherians, and proceeded to the earth and her heavens as commanded. And Yathai came to the throne of God and Gal in Atmosphere, and God sent to his lords an invitation to come also. And there came 72 of them. God said to Yathai, behold, the earth and these atmospherian heavens are full of false lords and false gods. Yathai inquired how many there were. God said, more than 30,000 gods and 160,000 lords. Behold, in every great city on earth is there a false god or a false lord, and he hath a small heavenly kingdom of his own, even on the earth. And the spirits of the dead of that place are his slaves for his own exaltation. And in many of these heavenly kingdoms there are wars and anarchy, hells, where the angels torment one another endlessly. Nor will these false gods and false lords and their subjects admit that there are higher heavens than their own. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creations, but made to bow in adoration and worship to the false lord or false god. And these again, being in contiguity to mortals, inspire them to the same worship, which fits them in the time of death to fall as slaves into the dominion of him whom they worship. The wars in heaven have inspired mortals to wars on earth, so that all around the world everlasting battles are going on. And such as are slain on earth, battlefields are born in spirit and chaos, not knowing they are dead, as to the earth. And so they linger on the battlefields, still battling imaginary foes. All over the earth are these battlefields covered with spirits and chaos, and with the spirits of Drux and Druge and Yachts and ground people who know nothing more than the beasts in the field. Return therefore, O Yathai, to thy Orion chief Thor, son of Jehovah, and say to him, the God of earth is powerless to rescue her angels and mortals from the great darkness upon them. And beseech him in Jehovah's name to come and deliver me and my kingdoms. Yathai inquired as to the races of men on earth, and as to the times of their termination. God said, in 12,400 years, the Ahin race, the mound builders, will come to an end. And in that day, the Gons will have triumphed over all the lands and waters of the earth. When Yathai had obtained the required information and also learned the localities of the divisions of the earth and her heavens, he departed in his Ariata with his companions and visited all the chief places, and then returned to Danga in Etheria before Thor, son of Jehovah, to whom he reported all he had learned as to the condition on the earth and her heavens. Then came the light of Jehovah to Thor, saying, my son, take thou a sufficient host of Etherians, and go to the red star and her heavens, and deliver them in my name. Thor called in 30,000,000 volunteers, and he provided an avalanza, an ethereal ship of fire, in which they embarked for the red star, where they should remain for years, and 238 days, which was called the dawn of Dan for Thor and Danga. Then onward, through Etheria sped Thor and his 30 millions, through the swamps of Asoth and the fields of Bradwuski, through the ethereal seas of Hosanga, toward the ark of Mas, and thence to Chinvat, the boundary of the earth's vortex. nor halted here, but sped onward in his ship of fire for God, the throne of God. God and his lords, being apprised of Thor's coming, had the capital in readiness for his reception, and they had beside gathered in all the angels of the second resurrection, and as many of the first as chose to come. In all there were in Gal assembled 900 million angels, faithis in Jehovah. Of these not more than 1 million had ever seen an ethereal, nor had they visited outward from the earth farther. Give me a second. Then the seventh plateau in Atmospheria. Amongst these, even into the heavenly capital of Gal, alighted Thor and his 30 million, and after due salutations, in the manner of gods and goddesses, a day of recreation was proclaimed from the throne of God. And thereupon the Atmospherians and Etherians mingled together joyfully. Then ascended Thor on the throne of God, and he ordained as followeth, to wit, 1 million constables to go to the false lords and false gods, and arrest them, and bring them to Gal for judgment. 1 million captors to possess the thrones and temples of the false lords and false gods, and hold them. 8 million captors to gather in the angels, slaves and all that had in heavens. 6 million dispersers to overthrow and disperse the hells, heavenly battlefields of spirits and chaos. 6 million physicians to disrupt fetals from mortals. 2 million founders of Ession, nurseries for the spirits of infants and helpless ones born into heaven before their full time. 1 million founders of hospitals for chaotic angels and others stricken in disease. 500,000 marshals, 500,000 messengers, and 3 million builders. And when these had been selected by the proper officers, they were dispatched to their several places and duties. Then Thor reorganized the council of Gal for the period of dawn. So God and his lords rested for a season, whilst Thor and his host delivered earth and her heavens. In 1 year, all the false lords and false gods and goddesses were captured and brought to Gal. Neither passed Thor judgment upon them until they were all brought in. And on this occasion, there were assembled in Gal millions of angels to witness the proceedings. Thor said unto them, Perceive ye not that my power is greater than yours? How can that be? I have but 30 millions, and of you there are more than 30,000 millions. Wherein? Then am I more powerful? Behold, I have arrested all your heavens and heavenly rulers. How is this? Whence my power? Not one could answer Thor. Then Thor said, My army is a unit. Yours are divided one against another. Yea, each one was in anarchy. This I declare unto you all, Jehovah, first of all, and his creations, which he have given unto all his creatures, to learn to master the elements of earth and heaven. This is the foundation for acquiring all power. Because ye bound yourselves in heavenly places on the earth, ye rose not up to endly places on the earth. Ye rose not up to the places prepared for, Because you bound yourselves in heavenly places on earth, ye rose not up to the places prepared for you. Answer me now, how standeth the world as to what is to come? Many of the false lords and false gods answered after this manner, I fear to speak my mind, lest thou in anger cast me in hell. Thor said, He who have learnt to know Jehovah and to serve him feareth nothing on earth nor in heaven. Fear is but the manifestation of weakness. Speak thereof what ye desire, no harm shall befall you. Then many of them said, This do I perceive, O God. There lie the earth and many heavens. The strongest mortals rule over the weaker. The strongest gods rule over the weaker. Therefore make me thy slave. I am content. Then Thor said, a greater hardship give I unto all. I give you your liberty and freedom. Go therefore whither ye desire. I ask not one to serve me, but say unto you, go serve Jehovah, by lifting up whoever is beneath you. They answered, whither shall we go? We know not the way from one heaven to another, nor the way down to the earth. Thou sayest, go serve Jehovah, by lifting up such as are beneath us. Now, verily, we cannot lift up ourselves. Had we great riches or power or wisdom, then would we willingly do for those beneath us. Thor said, verily, are ye gods of darkness? I say unto you, wait not for any of these things, but go at once and serve Jehovah. They answered, when we have first provided a way for ourselves, then will we serve him. Thor said, ye have spoken the darkness of all the world. I say unto you, go, serve Jehovah first, and after that come to me, that I may see wherein ye lack in anything. They answered, how can one serve Jehovah by lifting others up, if he have not clothes, nor food, nor habitation? Thor said, it is well ye ask that question, but I say, direct that question to your own souls. And behold, the Father will answer you. Let that be the question ye ask yourselves every hour of the day. And watch ye for an opportunity to answer it by the labor of your own hands. Then the false gods and false lords were dismissed from custody. Thor commanded the light of the throne and of the pillars of heavenly fire to be raised to a higher grade. The false lords and false gods desired to flee because of the brilliancy of the light, but knew not whither to go. Thor said unto them, why have you assumed to be lords and gods, since ye cannot even master the elements in the lower heavens? I say unto you, the regions of Jehovah's universe are boundless. Let no one assume to do that which he cannot do, but little by little learn to master the elements surrounding him, and he will in time learn to traverse Jehovah's beautiful firmament, and be indeed a fit companion for gods and goddesses. Then spake the false lords and false gods, saying, oh, that we had someone to teach us, someone to show us the way to learn. Then Thor, perceiving they were in proper humor for resurrection, allotted unto them certain teachers and disciplinarians, and they were taken into educational colonies and put to work. Thor said, to induce men and angels to find the way of resurrection, this is the greatest of all teaching. Man saith, O God, raise up thy servant. And the Lord saith, hold up thy hands, and I will lift thee up. But man will not. Man saith, send wise and holy angels to me, O Lord, to guide me in righteousness and good works. And the Lord saith, as thou askest of God, even so do thou to thy fellows. But man will not. As it is with man on earth, even so do we find it in Hada. To induce angels to develop themselves. By taking hold with their own hands and by the exercise of their own talents, this is the work of lords and gods, to rule over them without their knowing it, so as to lead them in the right way. This is wisdom. The first passion of man is to eat, the second the sexual desire, the third to make others serve him. And if he accomplish the latter, then is he indeed the prince of evil? For he then holdeth dominion to the hurt of others. So also as man buildeth these habitations in his soul on earth, how vain his effort for happiness in heaven. To teach him to undo all his past, and to make full restitution unto others, this is the work of gods and lords over spirits of darkness. Thor established 2,000 educational colonies in Atmospheria, besides innumerable places of manufacturing and building, teaching the angels of heaven how to provide habitation for those born of earth into spirit life. In 3 years of dawn, Thor had prepared for Etherian ascension 4,000 million brides and bridegrooms. Now all this while the angels of Atmospheria had been taught much in regard to the emancipated kingdoms of Etheria, of the splendor and majesty and power of gods and goddesses there abiding. Thor spake from the throne of God before the holy council, saying, Send swift messengers to Betis, goddesses of Terror in Etheria, greeting, and say unto her, Thus saith Thor, Jehovah's son, Orion, chief of Donga, Come thou to the heavens of the earth. I have 4,000 million brides and bridegrooms in Jehovah's harvest. Provide thou an Ariata of great size and splendor, for its presence shall enchant my people. The swift messengers departed, and proper officers at once set about making ready to receive Betatis. Others were sent into other parts of the Atmospheria with fireboats to bring Atmospherians to Gal, that they might behold the glory of the higher heavens as manifested in the descent and ascent of the Ariata. All these things were accomplished. Betatis came in great splendor, and all the kingdoms and sub-kingdoms of Gal were filled with the thousands of millions come to witness the ceremonies. This then was the size of Betatis Ariata, diameter, east and west and north and south, 2,000 miles to the borders of the photosphere, and 9,000 miles high. The ship within the photosphere, my bad. The ship within the photosphere was 100 miles east and west and north and south, and was 200 miles high. Of beams, the entire length, there were 12,400,000, and of upright 2 million. But of the short beams and uprights, they were numerous accordingly. And there were a sufficient number of chambers within the Ariata for every soul to have one. And besides these, there were halls and temples within, also suitable for music and other entertainments. The colors, shades, and tints with mirrors and with opaque ornaments, both movable and fixed, were provided in all possible ways, for ornament and for service, the like of which for beauty and never been surpassed in Donga. And when the whole Ariati was completed, it looked like an oval globe of light, with a framework transparent and opaque within, altered so as to add beauty to every part. And it was fitted and equipped for the third resurrection, having no storage places for atmosphere or anything in common with the lower heavens. To add still further to its splendor, Betatis had her Ariata ornamented with banners and streamers illuminated, so that at a distance, when seen descending, the whole vessel seemed like a sun surrounded on every side with movable stars and waving streams of light. Amongst her host were 1 million trumpeters and players on harps, and 2 million singers. In the midst of the forepart of the ship was the holy council chamber, with 4 million members. Above the council chamber was the chamber of worship, and at either side were the halls for dancing and social reunion. When the Baptiste ship neared the atmospherian kingdom of God, millions of her hosts stationed themselves on the galley beams and stay lines, adding a scene of life to the ethereal ship of surpassing beauty. With bouts had Betatis provided her ship, so that when she came within the earth's vortex, she could stand where she desired, whilst the earth and her heavens turned their axial course, that both mortals and angels might witness the brilliancy and glory of the works of Donga, chief goddess. And thus Betatis stood in her ship of fire just beyond the plateau of Gal, whilst the earth and her heavens made one revolution. The next day she descended into Gal, where God and his lords, under direction of Thor, Jehovah's son, had prepared their mighty audience. When the ship was made fast, the chief marshal of Gal and the chief marshal of Batatas' host met and conducted Batatas up in front of the throne of God. Thor said in Jehovah's name, "Welcome, daughters of light." Batatas said, "Praise the Almighty in love. Am I come to answer thy prayers?" Then spake God, saying, "Welcome, O goddess, come and honor my throne." Then went Batatas forward in a flame of light, and was greeted after the manner of gods and goddesses, after which she sat in the midst of the throne. And at once the ceremonies of initiation for the brides and bridegrooms were accomplished. Then came a day of recreation, and after that Batatas and her host, together with the 4,000 million brides and bridegrooms, entered her Ariata, and departed upward for the Etherean heavens. In the 4th year of the dawn under Thor, son of Jehovah, he received from the holy council of Beru of Danga in Etheria a dispensation from Orion chiefs, decreeing to the earth 100 years travail in Vocent. Thor called up Wak, god of Rhines, and said unto him, "A sore travail hath Jehovah put upon these heavens. Go thou to Halu, and command him to provide an avalanche sufficient to deliver 20,000 million atmospherians to the Aegean forest of Ganaya. For the inhabitants of those heavens are too dark to endure the vocent of 100 years, and would be precipitated to the earth and engaged in fatalism." Wak, god of Rhines, knowing the condition of the atmospherians, proceeded at once to Halu, informing him of the decrees of the higher heavens, and of the command of Thor, son of Jehovah. Thor then sent word to his lords and marshals, informing them also of his command, and further commanding them to bring from all parts of the earth and heaven all the lowest grades of angels to be consecrated in Gal, to which place the avalanche was to come for them. Thor appointed Tsingi, goddess of Ares, to superintend the reception of the angels, and to arrange them for entrance into the avalanche. And he gave into her command to assist her 500,000 marshals and captains and 1,000,000 Inuras, and these she apportioned to their respective duties and places. To accomplish all this, Thor allotted 77 days, Earth's time, and so wisely were carried out all the proceeding that on the 77th day, the avalanche was on hand, and all the angels ready to enter therein. Accordingly, these things were accomplished. The 20,000 million angels were carried away on the avalanche, which was walled around on every side with pillars of fire, so that not one spirit could escape, even were he chaotic or imbecile. And Wak and Halu had entire charge of the migration, and they proceeded upward and outward from the earth 7 diameters of the earth's vortex, which brought them into the forest of Ganaya, where they landed them. Tsingi, goddess of Ares, had charge of the 20,000 millions, and she had previously sent thither a sufficient force of angels, wise and strong, to provide for the reception, so that when the avalanche landed, all things were in readiness, and the angels were apportioned to different sections of the Ganaya forest according to their development, and proper officers and teachers were provided unto them. By Tsingi were these things done, and she established a throne of Agi, and provided a temple of council, and all such things as are required in the government of a new colony. And to reign after the expiration of dawn, she provided a god in Ganaya. She promoted to this one Hazadeka, a surveyor in Thalassia, the 3rd heaven of Gal, and she gave him the title God of Ganaya for 400 years. Now, in reference to founding an Aegean habitation in Etheria, This account is rendered unto mortals and angels of the lower heaven. Amidst the ethic waves and Etherians gather up the atomic elements floating therein, and giving them acid motion, propelling them forth, aggregating while till from a might it groweth as large as the whole earth, but is habitable within and without by the spirits of the dead and angels. One second, family, I'm looking for something. Okay. Jehovah said, in likeness of the solid earth and stars and moon that float in the unseen firmament. Jehovah said, in likeness of the solid earth and stars and moon that float in the unseen firmament, so made I atomic parts to all things, and made them to float in eth. As the earth is to the air and the ether above, so is an atom of corpor to the ethy solution. Jehovah said, think not, O man, there is but one member in my person, and that different conditions and states of that one compromise my universe. The foolish man have said, the blood is the flesh and bones, and that the flesh and bones are but a state of blood. But he seeth not that I make not flesh out of blood, but out of that the blood carrieth. And in like manner carry I the corpor of my person in the eth of my being. Now as to Thor, son of Jehovah, after the departure of the Avalanza, he provided a new god unto the earth and her heavens, and crowned him and bestowed upon him the triangle which had been handed down since the inhabitation of the earth by man. As for the remaining time of dawn, Thor traveled around about the earth and her heavens, making records thereof, to be carried with him to Beru in the time of his ascent. In consequence of the depletion occasioned by the resurrection of the 20,000 millions to Ganaya, God and his lords were greatly relieved of their burdens and Gal and on the earth. Give me a second real quick, family. 1 second. Okay. One second, fams. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Peace and prosperity were established on earth and in heaven by the time of the expiration of the dawn of Thor. And now came the time for his own ascent, with his hosts leaving the earth and her heavens in care of God and his lords. So Thor, son of Jehovah, sent swift messengers to Etheria, asking to be delivered, and asking for the deliverance of 6,000 million brides and bridegrooms to Jehovah. Sea-weighing goddesses of Hatsak in Etheria was appointed by the council in Beru to descend for Thor and his host and his 6,000 millions. Accordingly, Sea-weighing built her ships and gathered in her hosts for the journey, her 10 millions. This then was the make of her ships, which she named Harp, to wit. The photosphere was flat to the north and south, but oval east and west. The openings were on the flat side, with passages through. The crescent described a circle of 3,400 miles, and the depth of the harp north and south was 300 miles. The pillars of fire that ascended from the midst were 1,700 miles high. The stars within the photosphere were provided with 5 points, and each star had 1 million chambers, one chamber being allotted as the habitation of one bride or bridegroom, and there were 7,000 of these stars. The framework was crystalline and opaque and transparent, and of all possible colors and shades and tints. Now besides the stars in their chambers, the base of the crescent was provided with a salon, sufficient for the 1,000,000 musicians, and they were thus situated. God had knowledge of the coming of Seawain, and had commanded information to be sent throughout Atmospheria and to the lords located on earth, inviting all who chose to come and witness the ascent. And there thus came beside the brides and bridegrooms 2,000 million angels, many not yet delivered from the first resurrection. So it came to pass, Seawain, goddess of Hatsox, came down in her ship of fire, even to the foundation of Gal, came in great magnificence, and was received by Thor and by God and his lords. And she ascended the throne and performed the marriage rites for the 6,000 millions. And after that, a recreation of one day was proclaimed in Gal, during which time the Atmosphereans and Etherians mingled freely together. On the day following, Thor accompanied Seawain into her ship, and their hosts went in also, being nearly 7,000 millions. And then amidst a rain of Etherian flowers, Seawain started her fire ship upward. God and his hosts remaining in Gal saluted in the sign Yehovah forever, which was properly answered by the ascending millions. Then on its axis turned the great ship, rising and turning higher and higher. And in a little while only an ascending star was seen, and then it disappeared in the distance. Thus fulfilled Thor his great mission and dawned to the earth and her heavens. Oh, my bad, family. Oops, I skipped forward too fast. Hold on. Again, the earth and heaven prospered for another season of 200 years, and the next Dan there were delivered 5,000 million souls. And new gods and lords succeeded. And they also prospered, but not so well. The next harvest was 4,000 million souls. But again, false lords and false gods began to set up kingdoms of their own in heaven and in the cities of mortals. And lo and behold, everyone called himself either Thor or Apollo. And the spirits who manifested in the temples and for the oracles all gave one of these names. And mortals who were obsessed believed themselves to be the reincarnation of Apollo or Thor. And the obsessing spirits so called themselves. Others more intelligent said, have not the prophets foretold there was to be a second coming of Apollo? And are not these spirits who appear through the Sargis the very person? So great became the superstition of the nations of the earth, that in the fall of a leaf they found proof of the second coming of Apollo or Thor. Many of the spirits deserted the second resurrection in heaven and returned to the earth to wait for information concerning the coming event, as they supposed, though there was no event coming. Yehovah said, all corporeal worlds pass through the age of too much belief. As I gave to man judgment, that he might examine and weigh a matter, so runneth he into unbelief. Then my angels go to him, and show him wherein he believed too little. But lo, he goeth to other extreme, believing all things, and not using his judgment. God said, why will not men and angels be patient, and wait till a matter is proven, meritorious, before they pursue it to extremes? The same sun shineth, the same stars stand in the heavens, and the earth travelleth steadily on her way. Yea, her winds blow, her summers and winters come as in the olden time. Yet man setteth up that a great wonder is near at hand. And no wonder cometh, nothing now is near, nothing new is near. How shall I stay them, O Yehovah? Their desires for Apollo called down millions of spirits from my place of resurrection. And in trials and hardships they fall, and become suitable prey for designing false gods and false lords. But there came no other salutation than the echo of God's own words. So God and his lords bewailed the darkness of earth and her heavens. But high up in the Etherian heavens came the light of Yehovah, came the voice of Jehovah, saying, Hear your Creator, O ye gods and goddesses. Behold the magnitude of my works. I labor not for the profit of this man or that man, nay, nor for this people nor that people, nor for the inhabitants of one star and one heaven, but for the glory of millions of stars and millions of heavens. Doth not one corporeal man bewail a shower of rain, and yet his neighbor rejoiceth thereat? One man prayeth for sunshine, and another for shade. Think not that I labor for each one separately, but for the perfection of the whole. Wherefore them shall the God of earth and his lords bewail the darkness that falleth on the earth in this day. I have prepared places of darkness in the ethereal firmament, and places of light, and my corporeal worlds must travel through them. For so I created them. And these places of darkness and places of light are as changes of seasons for my harvest. Now doth the earth pass in deep darkness? For I fructify the races of men in new growth, corporeally for things that shall come after. As they absorb from the agi of my places in this age, so also do their souls become full of superstition and darkness. Thus went the earth into great darkness during the last 600 years of the cycle of Thor, and there was no harvest from her for the ethereal heavens. But the spirits deserted Atmospheria in millions and millions, and went down to the earth to dwell with mortals, and to find places on the corporeal earth where to live. And save to the Ihines, the light of Jehovah was shut out from men. Thus ambition for improvement was at an end. They became as drones and vagabonds, and when they died, their spirits continued to lie about in the places of their mortal life. And many of these spirits persuaded mortals to suicide, and they killed themselves by thousands and tens of thousands. Nor was there courage more among men to endure anything under the sun. They wanted to be with the spirits of the dead, to talk with them, to see them, and to be rid of earth trials. Neither had the spirits that congregate on earth any knowledge of the higher heavens, nor could they impart knowledge as to where they dwelt, or how they employed their time for. In fact, they did nothing useful to heaven or earth, nor even to themselves. Thus ended the cycle of Thor, and it was 3,200 years. Plate 7, end of the book of Thor, or end of the Simuan age. That is the time of the termination of creating animal life. Jehovah said, Behold, I quicken the earth with living creatures. By breath came forth all the living on the face of the earth, and in the waters thereof, and in the air above earth. I took the earth out of the dark regions, and brought her into the lights of my ethereal worlds. And I commanded the living to bring forth by cohabitation every species after its own kind. And man was more dumb and helpless than any other living creature. Jehovah spake to the angels that dwelt in his ethereal world, saying, Behold, I have created a new world, like unto the places where ye were quickened into life. Come ye and enjoy it, and raise man upright, and give him words of speech, for these will also be angels in time to come. Alright, family, I'm going to stop it right there, and we'll pick it up another time. I am a healthy, wise, strong, protected, celestial being that is loved by the Most High Creator. Shalom, family.